And we are live. You can catch us on YouTube, Kick, or Twitch. YouTube, Twitch, Rumble, and Facebook. It's another Dad Academy episode, so get ready. It's going to be a good one. We'll be right back with you, Howlers. Be right back. Howls over Baaz. I'm Jacob Casas.
It's Melanie.
And today we have Dad Academy in. So welcome back, Jeff Hamilton. How you doing?
Hey, what's up, everybody?
Love having you.
Good to see everybody. You too. Nice. I like your pink.
Thank
Looking
you.
very, very fresh there.
Very Valentine-y. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, we so just so you guys know, I don't know if we even said this out loud because we always get into it right away, but we are doing Dad Academy once a month. And it's just part of our thing now. And another thing we talked about behind scenes, we never talked about, he happens to have a wolf on his book as well. So it was like meant to be, guys. It was just meant to be.
I never know that.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
a
well,
little
one of the reasons is it sounds funny. You know, you're always, with branding, right? You're always looking to do stuff. I'm a Dodger fan. So if you look at the DA, right, it looks like the Dodger.
Yeah.
Right? It's made to look kind of Dodger-ish, right?
Yeah.
The script on my sweatshirt, actually the D is the Dodger, is the D from the Dodger script,
okay.
right? So it looks like the, you know, you see me with like my jersey on and stuff like that.
The merch is dope.
But one of the things, which actually you guys ought to think about this. You guys can visit like impactmerch.com/store/Dad Academy. And like, we've got all kinds of like dope hoodies on there. Just some cool stuff on there. And the wolf shield is the wolf crest is one of the things. It's because it's interesting that the wolf is one of the few species in which the males take the lead in raising the pups. And while a pack, you know, we always think about wolves and the leader of the pack. But it's very interesting that among the males, while there is a leader, they never fight for position. It's kind of based on wisdom. And so the fact that the wolf takes a role in the raising of the next generation, and that it's one of the few species where they don't fight for control of who's going to lead. It's much more of a communal thing, but usually the oldest and the wisest is the one who takes responsibility for the pack. So the guy who was designing our branding was like, "Hey man, this is just a cool little thing that I found out. You may not want to use it, but you know, so we have a cool little you know, extra thing like that." So and it's exactly right. Howls over Baaz.
Yeah.
Although that always cracks me up, right? Because as a pastor,
We say the flock. Yeah.
pastor is a shepherd, right?
Yeah.
And so it's a funny thing. But I do understand that you know, we just don't want to be only, you know, sheep that just take in whatever. We want to be people that are aware and focused. But as a dad, right? The funny thing is, the word pastor actually comes from Latin, which is pasture, right? And so, so it literally means like to pasture, the one who leads the flock and caretakes that.
Yeah.
Right.
The Old English word for that is the art of husbandry. Husbandry is the tending of flocks and is the care of the animals. I use that term, but the animals that are in charge of you. So a husband who is responsible for his family is equal to a pastor who tends for a flock. It's just that your flock is your family, and that your job is the well-being of your family. So
That's dope. I
Yeah.
like that.
And now, I mean, I was just telling you guys this week, found out at Christmas time, but we waited a little bit. But now I'm going to be gonna be a grandpa, which is
Yeah.
like,
Congratulations.
Congrats.
yeah, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. Actually,
Is
it
it
doesn't have
first
to.
time grandparent?
Yeah, first time.
Oh.
Yeah, they usually. I mean, they usually don't let guys this good looking be grandpas,
Yeah.
right?
No. Riley Chanel with the sneaker game. You know what I mean? He has fly kicks, guys. Every time he comes, we
Mel
compare.
too,
we,
man.
we compare sneakers.
Exactly right. Ambition too when he's in town, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm really looking forward to it. In fact, I was with my sister this weekend, and I don't know what it is about, like, I don't know if this is in like other cultures, but the Anglo culture, like everybody's all worried about what they're going to be called for grandparents, and so
Oh,
like
yeah.
right, like
Yeah.
so my sister she wanted to be called Lolly. She has 3 grandkids, and my brother-in-law, he was going to be Pop, so it's Lolly and Pop, right?
Okay.
Isn't that cute, right? Lollipop. And they're like,
That's cute.
right?
Play
But
on
they're like,
words.
what are you gonna be called? And man, I don't know. I think I'll just have my grandkids call me what everybody else calls me, which is PJ. But instead of Pastor Jeff, it'll stand for Papa Jeff. So, I don't know. What's weird thinking about this is that a lot of people say that being a grandparent like is the reward for being a good parent. But like this sounds funny. I don't want my kids ever to feel that they're taking a back seat to their children.
Yeah.
Right? I still want my kids to know that to
Mhm.
me, they're most important.
Yeah.
And that, sometimes as grandparents, you make such a big deal about, I don't know. I mean, but I want to make sure that I continue to be as good a dad or better than I am to be a grandpa. And so I don't know how I feel about all this. Other people that I know who are grandparents, they say that it's dope and it's the best
Different.
and all
It's
this
different
kind of
for
stuff.
sure.
But man, still my greatest thing is being a dad, and I love who my kids are. I think the reward of all the hard work that you put in as a parent is when your kids become adults and they still choose to hang out with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? Like the fact that my son actually asked me for advice at almost 30. He'll be 30 in March 1st. And he's so humble. Like I was not this open to coaching when I was his age. And the fact that he like, hey Dad, what do you think about this? What do you think about this? Or the kind of deep conversations about real life stuff with my daughter. Like that's so rewarding. And especially like since so many young adults, one of the things that's so interesting right now is there's a lot of millennials that for some reason have chosen, to kind of cut their parents off.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's a lot of people who, when you talk
There
about
is.
toxic relationships, they count their relationship with their parents as number one. And man, that would just break my heart to think that over the years that my kids would consider that I'm not trustworthy,
Yeah.
that I may not have integrity in my life, that I may live kind of narcissistic and only about me. That would break my heart.
Well,
man.
I don't know what's going on because I was telling somebody that I was going on a lot of dates for a while, like just dating for a while, and these girls have so many daddy issues, not just daddy issues, parent issues in general. Like almost every single one that I actually went on dates, pretty much all of them. I'm talking about like some of them, they end up being foster kids. Their parents just didn't want them.
Yeah.
A lot of the time, the dad did something to them, like sexually.
Oh,
There's a lot of that going on.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm talking about a lot of the girls I've been on dates with. I was like, dang, like I don't even want to talk. I'm like, I almost feel like there's so many issues going on with a lot of people because of issues that happen with their parents. I feel like I'm blessed that I didn't have to deal with that kind of stuff. Like, I thought, growing up in kind of, bad area and doing, being in pretty much a bad environment was bad, getting hit or whatever. But their stuff is so psychological, like deep down inside, like the person that you care about the most, that you're supposed to trust the most, is betraying you.
Oh, bro.
And it's like, how are they supposed to move on from that? You know, and I've been seeing a lot of that. I'm talking about a lot of it.
Yeah. Well,
It's sad.
I told Mel, that when we, came in, every time that we come in, like we think it's all going to be light and we're going to help, dads be better dads. And then all of a sudden, like it like goes into the deep end real fast. And so, I definitely, want Melanie to know that, I respect her and I mean, compared to me, everybody's young, right? Young women. But and I don't think a woman needs a man to be successful in their life, right? A lot of women have to overcome some of the challenges that they've experienced from the males, especially the ones in generations ahead of them, the one that should have been cheering them on and supporting them,
Yeah.
right? They carry some baggage.
Yeah.
I don't know that a woman needs a man to be successful, but I do think that having the right man early in your life, as a young lady, as a young woman, as a child, makes a significant contribution to success. In fact,
Yeah.
it's like I don't mean to be disrespectful. We live in a world that where feelings override truth and override, what you think is right should be right.
Right.
But facts don't lie. And the statistics are so clear that when a young lady has a father in her life who's engaged, her self-worth goes up, her academic achievement goes up, her promiscuity goes down, right? Because she doesn't feel the need to try to search.
Fill that void.
Right. And so, like, I want to be respectful knowing what we have coming in tonight. But, like, I've often joked with you guys, right? You guys need to bring me in sometime on this relationship dating thing.
Yeah, we
'Cause
definitely
then-
are.
Right. Because then all of a sudden, like, now it's a real world. You can't
Yeah.
make up situations about, like, what you want from a man and how I don't need a man and all this kind
Yeah.
of stuff. I mean, that would be silly to say, like, as a grown man, that I don't need a mom,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
I don't need you need the complement, like
Yeah.
just in nature, right? The yin and yang and the opposites, how they should complement each other.
Yeah.
And statistics talk about how in a child's life, an important contribution that dad makes, and that's one of the reasons why we talk about Dad Academy, is because we want guys to feel valued. We want them to feel significant, and that the best thing that you can do with your life is to be the best dad that you can. So how do we give you those kind of skills? Because it makes a difference in every kid who comes after you. So
I truly believe that too. I the more before even Dad Academy started coming here, I started seeing how important dads were to the world. Because I mean, the way they handle their children is different than the mom. So they have to do things, punish them, and discipline, and coddle them in a certain way where they learn and they feel respected, but at the same time they know that they can't get out of line. And you see how the world is turning now, and it just looks crazy out there, man. Like I feel like I haven't seen the world like that before, and I didn't realize until after I got a divorce and I started going out there and dating chicks, and I'm like, dude, what is this? Like, what is out here? This is wild. I didn't know it was like that. So a lot of people, I feel like what they're doing, they're just reforming to it. That's kind of what I was doing. I was like, I'll just put them in that category, and I'll treat these girls like this. I'll put these girls in this category. I'll do that, and that's kind of what I was doing. A lot of them, and most of them, they had daddy issues.
Well,
So it's like,
a lot of guys, I'm assuming that Mel, being pretty and single, right, comes up with a lot of meatheads. Like my daughter is 27 years old, and I want to be careful because I never want to embarrass her and stuff like this.
Yeah.
But like, she's a type A achiever, pretty secure in herself. and I don't know what kind of vibe that she gives off. Like there are some, it's actually a skill how to flirt and to let a guy know, like, hey, like
Yeah.
I'm interested or I'm
Yeah, yeah.
available, emotionally accessible, right?
Yeah.
She hasn't quite figured that one out yet. But one of the reasons why she says, like, Dad, I'm like, babe, listen, I mean, your cousin met somebody on a dating app, right?
Yeah.
Like if you can't find guys, I would think that some of these quizzes and stuff like this are still. And she's like, yeah, Dad, but still, every guy that I meet in this stage of life still wants it to get physical so quick before they even really get a chance to know me.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not ready for that. And I'm willing to go without that, which talks about, if you're going to ask me, that talks about the bad job that dads have done with their sons.
Mm-hmm.
That's your right or your privilege to impose yourself on somebody because you need the validation,
Yeah.
right? Your body count all of a sudden becomes this point
Yeah.
of pride in your life, just like, look at the size of my rims, look at the size of my
Yeah.
house, right? It becomes another measurement tool that we use to kind of validate or compare ourselves. And yet,
I think that's my generation too. Is nobody taught me. Literally, nobody taught me. Not my dad. Nobody. They didn't teach me to not have a body count, like a high body count. Like I was trying to get every girl I could. Like, hey, I'm gonna go get her. Okay, I'm done with her now. I'm gonna go get her. Okay, I'm done with her. I want to get as many as I possibly can. Like as soon as you're done with them, you're done with them. Nobody taught me to know, like, cherish that girl or anything like that. I didn't see that, so I just didn't do it. And I feel like my generation, all my friends, a lot of people, even people that are just acquaintances, they're all the same way. I feel like nobody actually taught us that. And I
so
started.
you can't ever come into a relationship healthy,
Yeah.
right? Because how can you, when you have shared the like I talk to teens all the time, right? And we get in relationships where you're looking at a couple and you're like, these guys are awful together. Why will they not? Why? Like, they hate each other. They're horrible to each other. You guys have seen relationships like this. Like, what?
Yeah.
What is wrong with them? Why don't they just break up? They can't break up because they're bonded. There's an emotional and almost spiritual. It is a spiritual attachment that starts to happen. And so, when you have shared the most valuable part of you with multiple people, and it's not being judgy. It's not. I was not perfect before I got married. Okay. So we bring almost an incomplete sense of ourselves because it becomes harder and harder the more experience in relationships you have, varied. It seems that the more and more protective you have to be. It's easier to give myself physically and withdraw emotionally.
Yeah.
And to continue to stay guarded. Now all of a sudden you marry this person. What does your program tell you about your relationship? That I have to what? I'm still guarded. And yet that should be the one place where, if we're really going to walk in unity, if we're really going to walk together and help each other, like when you think, I don't know if you guys have thought about marriage this way, because Jamie and I get to do a lot of marriage, like to think that God loves you enough that he designed another person to bring into your life to help you become the best you. Like that changes the way we start thinking about these things. And I wish that for my daughter's sake, for your sake, Mel, like that there were better men out there. Probably, man, when you're in your early 20s, guys don't admit this, but this is biology. Your brain's not even formed until you're 26 years old as a male. It's not fully formed, right? So it's
That's crazy
it-
for a guy. I mean, they've always said like, oh, boys like cause having kids. People would always tell me, boys are a little slower than girls, and I never knew really what it meant. Just like cause they learn slower, or just they
they learn differently.
develop.
They learn differently, and the developmental process is different. I mean, think about how much more quickly women physically develop before boys do, right? And that sometimes even causes its own problem in our highly sexualized culture. I mean, had lots of kids that I've known over the course of my life where a young lady starts developing at 14, and all of a sudden she's
Yeah.
viewed differently, just only
I,
because
I, I had a friend that she started at 9.
yeah.
I was like, oh my gosh.
Right. And can you imagine some other little like 11-year-old boy going, it's so stupid.
Yeah.
But guys, physically, like you come into your man strength physically, finally physically mature. You know this. You build so much more muscle after 20, 21, right? And that's true of your brain. Your brain is fully formed not until the prefrontal cortex of a man that regulates emotion, that regulates vocabulary, that understands consequences. It's not even fully formed until you're 25, 26 years old.
You know what's even crazier though? I notice a lot of men, they don't like. I mean, even if their brains fully developed and all that, but I'm saying like, I notice a lot of men don't really like life doesn't really hit them of reality until something really bad happens to them in a relationship, like till it's all gone, and then they have time to sit and think, and they're like, and the smoke clears, and they're just like, damn, I really screwed that one up. Like I could have done this, I could have done that, and it's too late. They usually figure it out when it's too late.
Why does that happen?
I don't know. And
Yeah,
that's
you
most
do.
men.
Okay, why does that happen?
I don't know, because in my experience, they don't sit in it. They move on, and then they get in another relationship like right
Yeah,
away.
we might still do that.
So I've
but,
seen that happen more so than a man be like, oh, dang, I messed that up.
Bro, you said it. See, the problem with changing anything in your life until you change, any environmental change, relationally, job wise, right, career wise, even location. Like, man, I got to get out of the IE. I'm moving to Texas. There's only one problem with any change externally that you're trying to make is that you still take you with you. You're still you. The change that really needs to happen is you. This sounds so ridiculous, but there's an old movie with Richard Gere and Julia Roberts called The Runaway Bride, and dumb, typical 90s, early 2000 rom-com, and but there's a pretty moving moment when Richard Gere, who's still friends with his ex-wife, and he's having this moment where he's falling in love again after a long period, and he's having a conversation with his wife and said, I was been thinking about the problems with our relationship, why we got divorced, and he goes, is it because I didn't really see you? And she says, yes. And he looked at her and he said, I'm sorry. And she said, and I'm sorry too. And it only took us 12 years to figure this out. Because a lot of men, we've talked about this in Dad Academy, right? A lot of us, marriage is one more achievement in our life, right? Having kids is another achievement, a long-term relationship. So many men are afraid of commitment, when yet that's the very thing that makes you a man. Commitment and sacrifice and all of those things are the thing that are going to make give a man a sense of worth and a sense of value, which is so funny when I've watched some of our other DNR discussions, and we have girls that are talking about, like, I want a man that makes this much money, and I want
that's
him
all
to
I
do
care
this.
about.
I want to do this and stuff like this. No, it's not. That is exactly not what you want.
Yeah.
because that's not going to produce for you the life that you really want.
That's what this is their Bible now though. This is what they see on social media, so that's what they think they need to achieve. And I feel like it's getting worse because even with ChatGPT, people are instead of like even going to God or even going to their parents maybe or things like that, they're using ChatGPT for relationship advice too, and how to communicate with a woman. And it's crazy to me because first off, ChatGPT it learns you, so
Yes.
it's gonna favor you anyways. So so right off the bat, it's already deceiving you.
Right.
You know, and
The way we do, right?
Yeah.
We lie to ourselves.
Yes, exactly. So I mean, yes, it's good for scenarios and things like that in business. I think, but even then, I still realize that it's going to favor me on how I want to think about it. So that's what it's already doing. So I think a lot of like I think social media, AI, all this stuff, it is going to be like the downfall of a lot of people.
Well, that just shows you the lack, how handicapped we are relationally anymore. Right? We talk about social media and the image that we want to present and the challenges with it. Yes, the very fact that my son, he didn't graduate from college. He's built a life that didn't require a degree, and obviously we're seeing that traditional college education is probably not a great life investment anymore.
It used to be,
Right.
but not no
Right,
more.
right.
Yeah,
Right.
that's crazy that you're even saying that.
But in the
though.
meantime, right, I was like, bro, what do you get? Like, how are you gonna figure this out? He goes, Dad, I go to YouTube University, which is great, right? Like I learned how to fix my car and do
Yeah.
these certain things on YouTube. But when you start going to YouTube for advice, like you need people in your
Yeah.
life.
Mhm.
And one of the things that I talk about in Dad Academy, and I just want our audience to be clear about something, like I'm not a dad influencer, right? I'm not somebody that you look and like I'm posting pictures about my vacations with my kids, or I'm,
Yeah.
posting some sweet little shot with me teaching them how to ride a bike. I'm glad you're a great dad to your 4-year-old.
Yeah.
I am a dad mentor. I have raised healthy, functioning adults who have taken on responsibility for their lives that I still have a healthy, ongoing relationship with, that I think is the way that life is meant to be. That's why I'm so honored, like I said earlier, when my son comes and asks me a question,
Yeah.
how safe does he feel? It doesn't mean I've been a perfect dad.
Mm-hmm.
It just means that the wins,
They trust you.
the wins that
Yeah.
I've incorporated over times, and the fact that I've acknowledged my failures.
Yeah, that's another thing I think men have a hard time doing. But I think, I mean, even being a business owner and things like that, if you want to succeed, you have no choice but to acknowledge your failures, because if not, it's going to be hard for you to get ahead or get back up on that horse or keep building. So I feel like as a man, you have to acknowledge your failures, and as a dad, like, because your kids are going to see you, they see you fail more than anything, if anything,
For sure.
So if you're not acknowledging that, they're not going to feel like they can trust you to go to for certain things. You look like a narcissist, or you look like you're just full of crap, like.
Yep.
And I know I have an uncle like that, like the kids just don't go to him for nothing because he's full of crap, and I just think like
And why is he? That's a skill he learned to protect himself
yeah.
from all of the failures that he's exhibited in his life. How many times, Mel, how many times have you ever had a man tell you he was sorry in the course of your life?
Just recently, huh?
Not even.
Oh,
I don't
yeah.
think I've gotten an apology from men, or even an ex-husband, my kid's dad.
See, and that's such a missed opportunity.
Yeah.
Like I think one of the tests of maturity for manhood is the willingness to own your mistakes, own your stuff,
Yeah.
right? And now sometimes the challenge is that those mistakes are so big, like even with your kid's dad. Obviously, we've not ever talked about that kind of situation before, but as a pastor, I deal with these kind of
Mhm.
situations all the
Yeah.
time, right? And one of the situations that we feel, and it's actually one of the big issues in the dad space, is that even when dads try to own up and try to do the right thing, we've talked about it, that there's certain cultural dynamics, especially depending on the family of origin,
Mhm.
Mhm.
that women are like, no, that's okay. I I I got this. In fact, it actually is the first story of the first child born ever in the Bible. So Adam and Eve, right, sin in Genesis, and they get like sent out of the garden.
Mhm.
And then there's a biblical description of Adam and Eve uh, knowing one another. And the knowing is the description of a physical union, right? So that they didn't
Mhm.
know each other in every way.
Mhm.
And from that encounter, Eve gets pregnant. And she has this line that she says, I have obtained from God for myself a child.
Mhm.
And that is such a powerful phrase
Mhm.
because what she's really saying is, okay, now it's me and God. And the son that
Mhm.
I've just had, I'm going to make sure it does not turn out like his dad, who disappointed all of us and put us in this situation.
Mhm.
Like that's the kind of the default
Mhm.
when those relationships are broken, and we see in the very first description of humankind a broken relationship,
Mhm.
and we still see people trying to work it out together. Like she was still willing to come to her husband. They had
Yeah.
to build a life together, even after all of the consequences of
Mhm.
that decision, right? The Bible lists all kinds of consequences. But one of the consequences is this kind of self protection that each one of us is
Yeah.
innate because of the brokenness in our life that says, no, I'm going to take care of me
Mhm.
and the people. Like the most powerful force on earth is a single mom because if it has to do with her kids, she's moving mountains to make
Yeah.
sure that's okay. But it's also like there's a protectiveness that just says, you know, man, I'm not letting my baby daddy like into this picture.
Yeah.
If he failed me, he's going to fail them. And like one of the biggest issues in the dad space, I mean, this is super interesting, is parental rights advocates because the court system is really against allowing fathers, especially if there's any type of not physical confrontation, but
Mhm.
it's a difficult reconciliation. You know, women have rejection issues, men have rejection issues. None of that kind of stuff is easy, but
Mhm.
the court system is set against dads. And so there's a whole bunch of like there's an interesting social media clip that says looks at a woman. They're having this conversation, and she says, "Do you think men should be able to opt out of fatherhood?" And they're like, "No, we don't. They should always be responsible. So they should always have to pay." I said, "Then how come women get to opt out of motherhood?
Mhm.
They get to make it. They get to make a decision, like
For their abortion.
maybe not to have a
Yeah.
baby,
Mm.
but men can't make a decision. Nah, I don't want to be dad."
Yeah.
I'm not saying that that's fair. I'm not saying that,
Yeah.
that's right. But there's all of these competing challenges,
Mhm.
and that's one of the reasons why in the book, like we talk about the importance of a man. Like if I could sit down with your ex, I would say I would ask him just a couple of questions. I would say, like, do you really know what's going on in Mel's life? She's a caretaker for her mom, right? You know what's going on with your kids. Like, are you looking for ways to help, or are you using the fact that I don't know what the situation is, but just
Yeah.
because you're paying support that support is enough, or are you trying to use your kids as a tool to kind of still
Mhm.
be in the power play? Your job, whether you still remain her husband or not, you are still her parenting partner, and your responsibility is still to serve her
Mhm.
and your children. And they need to see that you guys form some kind of unity front that above whatever kind of beef that may still exist between you as exes, that together mom and dad are on the same team for the well-being of the children.
Yeah.
And that's that's an incredibly, it's hard enough to do when you're married living in the same house. I can't even imagine how hard it is.
Actually, with my situation, it's really good. Like, we co-parent so well and we get along so well doing that. It took a long time. But it's been the best for the kids. The kids love it. They're super happy. I love that we can do that for them, and I think that's the best thing that we could have did. Actually, I mean, it sounds bad, us splitting up and everything, but I know our kids wouldn't have been happy like that, because I mean, even the tendencies we have right now, like, there's little things that we know we would never get along. Like, there's little things that happen.
Yeah,
but when it comes to parenting them,
but if you were the you that you are now, we were just talking about your sobriety. We were talking about your now, I mean, it's a few years. How long you been divorced?
almost 5.
Right. Have you grown as a person in these 5 years?
Yeah.
Right. There's usually like
Yeah.
this. There's usually like this, a little dip, and then you're like, I don't want to go downhill anymore. And you
Yeah.
start making these improvements, right? And you're on the rise. There's an issue of faith and a new perspective that you have on your life. We want to talk a little bit about your sobriety journey and how that's affected you as a business owner, how it's affected you in some of your relationships, especially as a dad. Like, you're a better you, and you may still have these points of conflict that you're like, how would I get over this? But if this you was still married to her right now, I promise you this, you would have no other option than to find a way to work it out.
Yeah.
You're mature enough now. You've grown enough now. You've identified some of the challenges in our lives. One of the challenges with men is we just give ourselves permission to do stuff, right? To be right, to be a certain way.
Yeah.
Like, listen. First of all, we gotta get some WD-40, because every time I move in the chair, it's squeaking. It sounds like my bones are. 2 weeks ago, my wife and I have been married like 33 years,
Oh yeah, that's awesome.
and it's work. It's work. She comes from a family of all girls, right? That comes from a family. So she's one of 3 girls, the oldest of 3 girls, born to an only child mom, who was born to an only child mom. Her dad was a single mom son, who was who was her mom's everything, his mom's everything. So, like, when Jamie and I have conversations, she is always trying to read what I'm saying behind what I'm saying, because that's how girls talk. Oh, what's the tone? What's the message that's behind the words? Guys are not that smart. I'm just talking straight, and I come from not just a guy culture, but I come from a sports or a really guy culture. So when I am communicating, I can get a little forceful and a little direct, but that doesn't mean I'm mad. That just is the way that I've been learned.
Yeah.
So when she feels that, then she starts to withdraw. And like, we had a situation that came up. Like, I was talking and sharing a story and something like this, and she mentioned something that was kind of a negative, and I felt that it put me in a negative light in front of who were, and I was just like, I don't know what that was that said, like, I'm a grown man. Why do I get uptight about stuff like this? But we got in the car. Man, I lit into my wife. I mean, I'm just being real. I mean, she looked and said, let me out right now. I mean, we're married 33 years. And I just go, that I'm not going to do that. And we rode in silence for 20 minutes on our way home, because we're both firstborns. Somebody's got to win.
Yeah, or break. Give.
Right.
Yeah.
And finally, I own some stuff, and she looked at me. She goes, "Did your dad ever talk to your mom the way that you just talked to me?" And I said, "No." "Does your brother ever talk to his wife? Did your brother-in-law ever talk to your sister like this? Why did you do that to me?" And I was like,
You see, I don't miss that about relationships at all. I used to hate that stuff. I hate conflict with stuff like that. It's really like even listening to it, I'm like, oh man, like I remember
tension,
all of
yeah.
that stuff, and I've been free from it for so long now that that feeling that comes up in me. I'm like, dude, they would like I can't believe that I even let somebody like make me feel that certain way where I'm like, what, like wanting to get that mad, like.
yeah, but
You
some of
know?
that's on me, right?
No, I get that. Yeah.
Right?
And
I like I don't think she did it intentionally, right? I don't like I mean some of your worst fights are over stupid
Yeah.
stuff, right? Wrong time, wrong phrase, what
in front of people, or yeah,
exactly right.
We have
My
egos.
wife's the best. She's the best person that I know, and like, I mean, I'm going to be honest. Like that probably is never going to be repaired because you don't forget about stuff like this. When you've been hurt by somebody who really loves you, like it stays. What you have to do is choose to love beyond, right? I have to show growth because that pain can't be without change,
Yeah.
right? I have to, like, if she's going to pay that price to endure whatever that price was, and you do realize there's two sides to every story. I'm just
Right.
telling,
Right.
I'm just telling what I heard her say to me, right? I could be very defensive and give all the reasons why
Yeah.
it's really not important.
Yeah.
What's important is that, like,
How you made her feel.
I realized that I
and
did,
reacted.
like, after 33 years, and this is probably not the first time. This is probably a continued trigger thing that throughout these 33 years, that there's been multiple times that I've reacted or responded this way, and yet she still chooses, not as a martyr, right? But she still chooses that, okay, like, we can't go back and fix it. We can't pretend like it didn't happen. But I'm not willing to I'm not gonna give up on this. So how do we go forward? And I think the same thing is, and so we have the opportunity to build. She has to choose to trust me again and be vulnerable. What I have to prove is that I'm worthy of that trust again. And that has to happen with our kids. When you fail with your kids,
That's so much work. I feel like.
bro,
I know.
It is.
That's why the
It's
marriage.
exhausting work.
Yes. It just sounds so exhausting to me. Like it's like, oh man, that again. Like I haven't been through that in so long, but 14 years of hardcore back and forth like that, like a lot. It was like I can't. And like being at peace. These last, like especially like now that I'm not drinking, I drink a lot because of the marriage. I started drinking heavy.
Well, it's escape. It's an escape tool, right?
And now that I'm not drinking, I stopped for a whole year with her, and I was really like seeking God for that year. And I just like I remember I started flipping out because she just would not stop getting on me, and I just went right back to it. Boom! I was like, I'm done with you. I don't want to hear you no more. And numb me. And then finally we got divorced and all that, and then now like I stopped drinking, and I'm like, dude, like this is the best thing. I felt like that had such a hold on me for a long time, and it was all had to do with the anger and all that stuff going on.
Yeah, we just cycle around in our dysfunction over and over, right? And so like this is now, thankfully it hasn't happened in years, right? This is not like an every month. This was like a one time in 3 or 4 years, early in your marriage, these kind of conflicts happen more
as you're getting to learn your partner, your spouse. Yeah.
Right. You get better. Same with your kids, right? You learn how to treat your kids differently, because my son, has a very gentle, I'd say a very gentle spirit, like
Mhm.
his mom. Like you see him, he's a big dude. You know, he's 6'4", 200 pounds. He's not, going to the gym, but he surfs all the time. He rock climbs. He's,
Oh, he's strong,
he's
dude.
pretty fit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Big, big dude. But man, I remember when he was little, and I'm giving him instructions, right? Coach voice. I get in this cop, tone. You need to go clean your room, and then uh, I would watch him as a 3-year-old, not thinking, I'm 6'2", 250, and you're standing over your 3-year-old with that kind of tone.
Mm.
And there's times that I have a conversation with him as an adult that in his eyes, if I get too direct or I use a particular tone,
Mhm.
like I see him go back to that 3-year-old.
Oh, triggered.
And I have to reframe that conversation, and I have to remember that like he's actually much more, personality wise, my daughter is a lot more close to me, to my vibe,
Mm.
and my son is very much like his mom, and so them learning to relate to us is important as well. But one of the most powerful things, I not only have to say that I'm sorry, but I also have to prove. A lot of men just say we're sorry, but we don't change.
Yeah, there has to be action behind it.
That's right. And so what I'm trying to do is, I mean, it's still raw, right? It's only been a
Yeah.
couple weeks, but it's okay because we've navigated these things in the past. Things I'm responsible for, things she's been responsible for,
Mhm.
as we're growing and becoming our best. And yet, I don't know that I could be the best me without her,
Yeah.
because sometimes, you need somebody that's willing to be there and just go, see what you just did. Oh man.
I believe that
Um,
too.
so
My brother just got married, and he was really out there doing his thing, and I see he's way better because of her now. And they love each other so much. It's crazy. My sister's the same way with her husband, and I don't really see good marriages a lot. So when I see them, I'm like, dang, like he's actually becoming a better person in all kinds of ways. Like I've never even seen him act the way he acts now. He's a
Yeah.
different. He's literally a different person. So I do see that. It's just I just feel like picking the partner. I guess I don't know. I mean, it's just that whole thing. I've been through so much on that where I'm just like, that freaks me out. You know what I mean?
yeah.
It
And
really
th-
does.
and that's what I think the next conversation that you guys are going to have, right? Um, I wonder a lot of times, especially as everybody's getting older, um, your priorities start to start to shift, right?
Mhm.
Because a lot of these girls whose first priority in their mid-20s is going to be, I want to see somebody's checkbook,
Yeah.
Themselves.
or I want to see some abs and a nice car. Um, like, give them another. If they're smart, right now they would start looking for like, who makes me laugh, who makes me, feel like the best version of me. That dude may not be making 6 figures, but you'll have a happier life. You'll have a more fulfilling life, and that's even again, since we're on Dad Academy, like I want to talk to dads. Like you don't need to make $1 million and be able to provide your kids
Yeah.
all the little bells and whistles. I promise you, at the end of the day, your kids would rather have you than the latest gaming system,
Yeah. I completely agree with that.
right? They would rather have you teaching them something how to do than to give them an e-bike that they can ride around town all day away from the house. And making those kind of adjustments, understanding our priorities, and again, being a dad, just like being a husband, it's a privilege that God entrusts you to help the people that He's placed under your care to be the best, to help them discover who He's made them to be. And in doing that, I start to discover who He's made me to be. There was a comment.
Yeah. You want to read the
Michael,
chat?
yeah,
Michael who? What is it?
Michael, it looks like
07Z.
07Z.
Well, shout out to Michael.
Yeah, what's up, bro? When I failed with wife, I realized I failed my king and what he called me to be. I think bro, that is exactly true, because I think it's good, especially in my position as a as a pastor and all this kind of stuff. Like, I think I've told you before, I think God made me a pastor because he said, like, oh, Jacob, I can work in his life and help him become who he wants him to be, be a business owner and podcaster. And our friend John, he can be a salesman and make some good money, and I'll use him to do Camp Agape. But that Jeff Hamilton is such a wreck that I need to give him a job where he's thinking about me 24/7 and has to live a life of change, right, that people are going to hold him accountable to. Yeah. I really think that it was the way that God, it's the tool that he uses to help me become,
Your better version.
who he's really designed me to be. And by giving me my wife, by giving me the kids that he gave me, it definitely hasn't been perfect, but I think I'm better. I'm better now.
Do you think Dad Academy too has brought you more like zoned in on that as well? Like not just writing the book, but even like talking about it consistently. Do you think that helped you be even more in tune with being a good father and continue to be a good father?
Bro. So first, yes, but it goes with the way that Sunday mornings roll for me. I tell my congregation all the time, I didn't come up with this message for you. I came up with this message for me. This is what God is doing in my life. And if he's doing it in my life, he's probably wanting to do this in your life as well, right? Same with Dad Academy, right? I developed these principles after my kids had grown, right? I want smart people learn from their mistakes. Wise people learn from others' mistakes. So I'm sharing my mistakes and my wins so that guys won't have to go through some of the things that I went through. You're not going to avoid it all, but we want you to avoid as much as possible. And I do think that talking about Dad Academy is always putting in mind, am I putting these principles in practice in my marriage, even with my adult kids, as I'm thinking about now? I've never even considered being a grandpa before.
Yeah.
In August, a whole new world is going to start, and maybe not in the first 2-3 years that it's going to, but, Jamie and I are making a decision about our future that one of the reasons why we're wanting to do more and more Dad Academy is because the more that I get to do Dad Academy, the more time, the more freedom that I'm going to have over my own schedule to be able to invest into my family's life. My legacy is not going to be my church. My legacy is not going to even be these books. My legacy is going to be how I'm remembered by my family.
Yeah.
So I want to make sure that in the what do I got left? 80 years, like 22 more years. If I got 22 more years, I definitely want it to be better than my first 22 years.
Yeah. Definitely.
Right? Because now I got nothing. Everything I have, now I can give it. And what I'm trying to help dads understand is that in each season, the more you give, the bigger the payoff at the end. And the more satisfied you're going to be with your life. I promise you, if you're a better dad, you're going to be a better husband. And if you're a better husband, you're going to be a better employee or employer. You're going to treat your customers, you're going to treat your team with a lot more respect.
Yeah.
When I talk about developing your values as a dad, those are probably the values you're going to want to put in practice in your business.
Yeah.
Those are probably the values that you're going to want to put in practice in all of your other relationships. So, I think that having this on my mind, and that's why I want guys to do Dad Academy.
It's been it's helped me a lot.
It's
crazy. I have literally I see it. I see your logo all the time in my head, all the time. And when I'm doing certain things, or I feel like I could have done that better. Then I that always pops in my head because I really I feel like out of everything I do, I feel like even before Dad Academy, I even knew about it. I felt like that's the one thing I want to be very good at is being a good father to my children.
Yeah.
I feel like that's my most important thing that I can do. And this is kind of giving me guidelines, better, like way of seeing it, like mapping it out a little
Yeah.
more, and it makes me okay. Like, well, so certain parts I know that it, like I don't. It's kind of weird. I'll be maybe talking to them a certain way or doing something, and boom, it's like it pops, like your logo pops in my head. So it kind of gives me like a. And it's weird. It's weird. It really does though. And so I kind of like, okay, maybe I can handle this a little differently. I feel like I'm handling it a lot. How I do it with my kids a lot. I feel like I do a really good job.
Yeah.
But you can always do better, and that's how I try to be with them.
Well, we want everybody who's listening to visit Dad Academy, dad.academy, just dad.academy. And there's a free download on there that's called The 3 Responsibilities of a Father. And on the big picture, like when you think big picture, I said that the 3 responsibilities that a dad has is, number one, you got to protect your kids' purity. You can't help the fact that they're going to grow older, but we live in a society that wants them to
grow up
older.
fast.
Yes.
Fast.
And your job is to make sure that they grow up at a pace that is appropriate to them.
Yeah.
So, like, one way that you do that is that you got to be engaged in their life, asking good questions. You got to monitor the kind of input that takes place in their life. You have to set appropriate boundaries in every stage of their life, because a lot of people think that boundaries, they're not meant to be restrictive. Actually, the boundaries tell you how you're going to win.
Yeah.
I mean, Super Bowl was Sunday, right? Imagine trying to play the Super Bowl with no field, right? No out of bounds, no touchdown lines, no line markers.
Yeah.
How do you know when what you're doing is right or wrong? How do you know if you're moving down the field or if you're going backwards? How do you know when you score? How do you know what the win is? Boundaries help a kid to be able to do that. And it's one of the ways in which you protect the integrity of who they are becoming, who God's designed them to be. So protect their purity. The second is affirm their identity. And when I talk about their identity, I'm talking about the core of who they are. Like, so much of our world talks about shame. Like, we don't realize that shame is the biggest issue that so many of us deal with, because we live in that perform for love culture, right? That your value is based in what you do. And that can't be in your home. We teach kids how to do because doing is a product of being loved. And it's a way to express love and to accept responsibility. And you do that also by passing on your values to your kids, right? So that they have a clear sense of, this is who the Hamilton family is. This is who the Casas family is. This is what we believe in. This is what we're about. And they walk away with a clear sense of like, we serve, we're loyal, we are generous with our time and our resources to people, right? It gives them like a compass that keeps pulling them. And the last one is direct them to their destiny, protect their purity, affirm their identity, and direct them to their destiny. You're like, what do you mean, their destiny? Well, you have to train them to be able to start pursuing their dreams and desires in a very practical way by giving them the skills that are necessary to be successful in life. So, like, one of the simplest ways that a dad starts to prepare a kid for success is by letting him experience little successes at home, by giving him responsibility. Success is determined when opportunity meets responsibility. And so, like, you get your 5-year-old, when he starts going to kindergarten, you make him make his bed. He's not going to make it great. But like, right? He starts off with a win. Now you can pack your lunch. Hey man, I'm proud of you. This is what we do. You teach them how to serve as a family. Maybe you come up together and participate in some community service project. You teach them how to be generous. So when a dad understands these 3 big, there's a very famous Bible verse that says that God will give you the desires of your heart. And I don't interpret that scripture as saying that God gives you what you want. No. I say God gives you the wants. The things that, if he designed you, the things that you want in life sometimes are connected to how he's designed you and who he's made you to be. And how do we help you discover what those kind of things are? So I encourage the listeners, the dads, to go check out dad.academy. It's on the spreadsheet on the website right there. It's 3 responsibilities of a father checklist, and it's just kind of a free little tip that dads can refer to, even moms, man, because these things are still true of any parent.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate you coming on again.
Bro,
You're always killing it.
This is always the
I
best.
see. All I see is clips the whole time. When you're talking, I'm like, boom, 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 boom. You know.
No,
So-
I love you guys, man. I'm glad to be, part of the HOB fam, and it's really a privilege. I don't know if all your guests feel the same. Usually, everybody's here, getting to talk about their thing, and I mean, we got some cool stuff that's been going on, right? But for me, like, I just come on and like, what are we gonna talk about today? I don't know. And then we just start rolling.
It always goes crazy though. Your clips are like, it's all Dad Academy always hits hard, always.
Well, it's because it's hitting a need, and we're looking forward to the HOB community. Like, we're still planning on how to unpack this coming up pretty soon. We've already got our first Dad X days that are being planned out, kind of like a 6-hour seminar on fatherhood, and we'll start figuring out one to bring out here to the IE once we've start dialing in the formula a little bit. But oh, bro, tomorrow drops too. Dad Academy is dropping in Spanish. It's available right now on Amazon, fully translated, fully edited, and so there's very few parenting resources for the Spanish-speaking community, and so I'm really
That's dope.
Awesome.
Congratulations!
really
on
excited
that.
about how that came about. It's cool how God put kind of the right people in the right places. So the guy who originally designed the book, has all the files, and another designer helped me get the Kindle version online. And she's done a lot of stuff. She actually works for Warner Brothers in their marketing department. She's kind of a big uppity up, but she works for nonprofits on just kind of the side. And I'm like, Annette, you don't happen to speak Spanish, do you? And she goes, my last name's Perez. My maiden name is Perez. I can't speak it, but I read it fluently.
Oh.
And the hard part was taking the translation that we had, which my baseball coach's wife did the first translation because she's a family translator. She's a translator in the San Diego family courts. So she, like the guy I coached baseball with, his wife did the first translation. And then one of my pastor buddies took it. And I didn't realize that he's a professional editor and translation editor. So he did the final run through. And it just all
That's
came
awesome.
it all just came together. So
It was meant to be.
yeah, that's right.
Translated.
Well,
So
we
it's really
appreciate
cool.
you coming
Bro.
on, Jeff. It's always a bad dope time. I would say a
Let's go,
different
Shoes.
dope time.
Let's go, Shoes.
But we can. One last thing, you want to tell them where they can find you again and all that?
Dad.academy online. Instagram is still dad.academy. TikTok, dad.academy. Yeah, we're all rolling. Facebook at Dad Academy, YouTube at Dad Academy. We're looking forward to probably in April starting to have a regular kind of weekly live, kind of
Live
inspired
show.
by
Yeah.
just not like this. I mean, you guys do the killer stuff, but just an option to kind of encourage and resource dads. And yeah, man, thanks again. Go visit Amazon, look for Dad Academy, Jeff Hamilton. You can pick yours up there. You can order it for a discounted price at the Dad.academy website.
Well, appreciate you guys watching. And we're going to do the Shed the Sheep real quick. So on 3, I'm going to get this camera. 1, 2, 3. Shed the sheep. Howls over Baaz. I'm Jacob Casas.
It's Melanie.
Hey, Jeff Hamilton. Good seeing you.
We appreciate you guys watching. He'll be back next month. Every month we're doing this, guys. So peace. We're out.